So I thought it might be helpful to show you some aspects of Talon and specifically our course page that will help you make sure you know where everything is and how to find the most important information. So when you first log into Talon, it'll take you to your home page, which looks like this. You'll have a list of all your courses over here to the left and some general Kirkwood information over here. Across the top, there's a calendar, which takes you to a calendar that I think contains the dates for all of your courses all put together. This will take you directly to email, although as a reminder, the email in Talon is send only. So this will take you, as we'll see here, to a link that allows you to send an email to someone else, but you do not receive email through Talon. So anytime you send an email through Talon, this will go directly to whoever you're sending it to. It goes to their Kirkwood email address, which all of you have. So if you're sending me messages and not getting responses, check your Kirkwood student account because all of my replies will go to your email there and they won't show up in Talon. So email. This takes you to the Kirkwood Library website. This is an FAQ about how to do things in Talon if you have questions. This is system check. Will help check to make sure your computer has everything it needs to run Talon properly. So if there's a problem with cookies or JavaScript, that's a big deal, a critical system check. The other ones are non-critical, but having these be green check marks will help the website work the best possible way. A couple of other interesting things to pay attention to way up here at the top. This is a messaging system. So if you can send email from here as well, but Talon also has an instant messenger that will pop up. Excuse me. And so you can find people in the class. You can tell if they are online or not. And if they are online, you can send them messages. So this is another way to communicate within the course. Recent announcements show up here. Recent activity within the class will show up here. You notice that says subscription alerts. To set a subscription, if you go to notifications, there's a couple of things you can do. Email pretty much, I think, needs to be sent to your student Kirkwood account. I don't think you can actually change that, but you can connect your cell phone to your Talon account, and you can ask for notifications when certain things happen. So if you want to know when there's a new announcement or when there's new content or new posts, when things are graded, reminders of deadlines, you can ask the system to send you an email or a text message about that. And so there's ways you can sort of update that. And okay, so that's Talon in general. If you click on the course title, this takes you to our course homepage. There will be announcements here to sort of remind you of upcoming deadlines, and sometimes there will be important information there. So it's a good idea to look for announcements. There's also a calendar, reminders of upcoming deadlines and events, an easy, quick way to access the course content. And then this green box over here is the link to our Mastering Chemistry page. Our course has a specific place within Mastering Chemistry that's just for our class. So this will be the best way to access that. We'll talk more about that in just a minute. Once we're in the class, these topics have changed. Course content is where you'll find, surprisingly enough, all of the content for the class. Grades is where you go for grades. Progress is a way for you to check and see sort of whether you've done something or not. But it's also a way to check on your grades. And one of the most important things about this is a way to see how you did on quizzes and exams. So all the quizzes and exams will show up under this quizzes link. You'll see some of them there. And if you see here, there's a quiz I've taken. It shows you how many attempts. I've done it once out of a possible 3 attempts. When I click on details, I can click on the attempt and it actually brings up the questions and answers and I can see how I did on the quiz. So I would encourage you to do that often, to review your quizzes and exams to see how you did. We will also have an option to do study guides, which are optional. You hear more about that later. But any feedback from me, you would see feedback here as well. So the progress tab is an important one. If we click on course content, one thing I want to highlight is that, well, there's two things I want to highlight. First, it would be a good idea to review everything in this syllabus folder, but particularly these are the attendance verification tasks that you'll need to do before being marked as attending the course. So I recommend you try to do this by the first day of class if you can. Also, each week of the course has its own folder. I've broken the class down so that there's a certain amount of material I recommend you do every week and assignments over that material due every week. And each chunk of textbook reading I've broken up into what I call a module. So for example, module 2 is about the first chapter of the class. And there you go. So there'll be the module, a little description of what it's about, a reading assignment, which sections of the textbook go with this module, learning objectives. All of the quizzes and exams are based off of these learning objectives. So this is what I expect you to be able to know or do after reading that material. I try to add a little bit of additional information about the material, my own sort of comments. I also will occasionally link to YouTube videos that relate to the topic that I think are helpful. So that can be found under additional information. And it's not really cooperating to scroll down, but there's also a link at the bottom, a list of end of chapter problems that relate to each learning objective to help you practice and test that. So those are the modules. To go back to one last thing, it is important to get started and get signed up with Mastering Chemistry as soon as you can. There are assignments due the first week of class. So it may not work as the way you're used to doing it. So the way to get started with Mastering Chemistry, first of all, read this link right here. But if you go back to the course homepage, you can do by clicking on the course title at the top. You'll notice this My Lab and Mastering link here. If you click on this, it actually opens up a new tab. So if your pop-up blocker is on, nothing will happen. So make sure your pop-up blocker is turned off. Now, I'm already linked, so it took me directly to information to our Mastering Chemistry class, essentially. But if you're doing this the first time, what would happen is it would open up a page to walk you through getting your access code entered so you can access the class. When you do it this way, you don't need a course ID. All you have to do is click on this within our course, and it will take you directly to our Mastering Chemistry course to get access. So the upside is that you'll be able to access our assignments without having to log in separately to Pearson. All right. I think that's everything I wanted to show you. All of the assignment deadlines for the entire semester are already posted here in the course calendar, so you can review that if you have questions about anything. And other than that, I hope this was helpful. Thanks.